The best part of a police officer in India is the sheer power to help people alter their lives and put them in the proper place.
Would it be fair to say that your task that you had given yourself in the late 1990s was completed through encounters?
Not at all. That is the cinema and other guys have made a myth. The so-called encounter specialists glorified themselves so that they could also do a bit of money-making business, and they brought disrepute to themselves. When you come to the academy without any knowledge of Hindi and the entire outdoor work, like horse riding, your arms training, your commanding parade, everything is in Hindi. Even LMG or 303, all the guns, everything is taught in Hindi. So it was a struggle for existence and survival. Put it on record, TNPSC and all other things, not the banks, but TNPSC kind of things are all highly corrupt. And unless you pay a few lakhs of rupees, you couldn't be doing anything there. The worst part of police officer is that all pressures from all sides, the politicians, the press is the biggest pressure on the police, and then the uncontrollable situations, all factors.
Do you believe that as a society, we are looking after our cops?
Not at all, zero. No.
My guest today is a really interesting person. I've known him as a journalist through my career. He is a very famous cop, very popular for 2 stints in the Mumbai police. One in which he was responsible for cleaning up the underworld in Mumbai, and a second stint as police commissioner where he was brought back to actually secure the city of Mumbai after the 26/11 attacks to make sure something like that didn't happen again. But the thing he's most known for is for being an honest officer. It's what everybody says about him, that he was a very honest officer during his entire career. And even today, decades after he retired, that's still what people say about him. D. Sivanandan has won many awards. He won the President's Distinguished Service Medal. He's won a medal for meritorious service for internal security. But I suppose the thing that he has won most of all is the loyalty and the thanks of the citizens for the work that he's done. In this conversation, he talks about what it's like to be a police officer, how to separate, or how he tried to separate what was happening on the streets with what was happening at home, about mental health, and about the underworld. Here's my conversation. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you, ma'am. It's always a pleasure meeting you always.
So we've had many conversations in the past before, and I think the difference with television and the internet is in television you have a very limited amount of time to have the chat. I have the luxury of, longer time now. And I've always wanted to tell your story to the audience, but not just the story about all the work you did, but the person behind the uniform as well, because people know about how you fought the underworld in the 90s, and then how you kept the city safe after the 26/11 attacks, and we'll get to that. But I'm going to start by asking you why you decided to become a police officer. How did you end up in uniform?
That's a very interesting story, ma'am. I studied in Tamil Nadu, I studied in Tamil medium, I studied in multiple schools in various villages and all that. There is a basic lack of amenities in that kind of schools. But that apart, I did become a postgraduate in economics from PSG Arts College, Coimbatore. Then, when I was small, I had 2 brothers and 1 sister, and in the family, I was not the outdoor type, so I was always reading a book whenever 2 minutes was given to me. I used to take out a book and start reading, so they used to say that this guy is fit for a professor. So, I was designated professor in the house. So, the dream come true was, even before the results of the MA economics exam results came, some college people came and offered me to be a professor in their college. So that was like a opportunity coming on a platter. Yes. So I became the professor there in 1974, June 1st. That's when I finished my PG. But then I should have led my life all through my life as a professor only, teaching the same. But then in a year or 2, I found it a little bit dull, monotonous and boring. Maybe because it was not one of those top end Delhi School of Economics or Cambridge or any such thing would have tickled your brain. But then this became a little bit monotonous. So I said, now we should look for a job which is more well recognized, little bit adventurous, little bit nice. Didn't opt for police. I want to put it very plain, frank truth. The opportunity I sought was either TNPSC, that is Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission, Group 1, or banker, RBI or SBI or things like that, or the other one is the UPSC. Now, put it on record, TNPSC and all other things, not the banks, but TNPSC kind of things are all highly corrupt. And unless you pay a few lakhs of rupees, you couldn't be doing anything there. So the only option for a young, aspiring Indian then and now also is appearing for the UPSC. So sitting in that back of beyond place, there's no Rao study circle or no internet or no Google, nothing, no computers, nothing. But so then I had to, without any coaching, without any exposure, without having ever met a police officer or a IAS officer, I just sat for the exam. So that was also a challenge because it was a new college, they wouldn't give me leave, and then I had to take for 1 day exam, 1 day leave and go all the night by the Blue Mountain Express to Chennai, get down Egmore, give in the university centenary hall exam, take another evening thing, teach next day, and then again go like that. So in the first attempt, even though I appeared for IAS, IPS, IFS out of sheer ignorance or whatever it is, I appeared for all the things. But then I got selected in the IPS in the first attempt. So this choice of police came by divinity or divine intervention, fate, you call whatever it is. Then I never looked back. And as a person of my exposure, the salary in the beginning and the end is all the same for all services. I hope you appreciate what I'm saying. Like if it is the basic 700 rupees beginning and 8,000 at the end, the chief secretary also gets that, the DGP. In protocol, the DGP and chief secretary is the same.
Yes.
But then all that was not known to me. Now with hindsight, I am explaining all that. But that time everything was the same. I said as good as anything. Then all the movies and other things show you policeman can do something about it and all that. So I jumped into the bandwagon and joined the police. So to put it very frankly, police was not my choice. For that matter, many of the police officers on the IPS level is also not their choice. They appear for the exam, they get into this and then join and then make out whatever happens in the rest of their life. So in my case, it came to me with, I mean, to admit very frankly, it is like shooting a black cat in a dark room with eyes blindfolded, shot for the first time and got the target killed. That's what happened to me.
So for a small boy who grew up outside of Pollachi in Tamil Nadu, going to village schools that did not have proper amenities, studying Tamil medium, Maharashtra Cadre?
You know, this is again another black cat being shot in the dark. See, now and ever, in the IPS, IAS, IFS, you ask for your home state as the first preference. And if you don't get the home state, then you get into the general pool in a kind of a roster. It's called roster. Let us say lottery, to put it very bluntly. In that roster system, you get allotted to things. So you start from Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, like that. I would have come somewhere in M, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Tripura. So I could have as well gone to Manipur, Tripura for poison arrow or anything like that. But then, as luck would have it, I got Maharashtra. It could have been Punjab, the most challenging place, or Jammu Kashmir, where even now it is.
But you obviously have a skill for this. You speak fluent Marathi. I'm sure you dream in Marathi also a little bit.
I dream in Marathi. I speak Marathi, read books from Phula Deshpande or Visa Kandekar or Panipat and things like that. Because the biggest advantage again is ignorance is bliss, Like I never studied Hindi in my school or college because Tamil Nadu was doing a great anti-Hindi agitation.
Yes.
I was also in the bandwagon that time. So when you come to the academy without any knowledge of Hindi and the entire outdoor work like horse riding, your arms training, your commanding parade, everything is in Hindi. Even LMG or 303, all the guns, everything is taught in Hindi. So it was a struggle for existence and survival and also flourishing. So I learned Hindi while running, while falling, while getting up, because that was the biggest obstacle. But then sweet are the use of adversity, as Shakespeare would say. And I improved 50 ranks in my rank in the academy without having any knowledge of Hindi. If only I had known Hindi, and if I was a little more competitive, I would have gone up further. So if I was number 70 when I joined in the academy, I became within 20, and with all the handicaps. But then without knowing the competition as to all these things will take you up and this will help you in promotions and all, was hindsight knowledge. That time it was not known to me. But I did. But then the innate intelligence of a villager pitted against St. Stephen's College and other kind of boys, you get a level playing field, right? All that you need is a spark, fire in the belly, and a spark and a desire to excel. That's where the things get differentiated, and then you start shining.
What is the best part about being a police officer in India?
The best part of a police officer in India is the sheer power to help people alter their lives and put them in the proper place, and the inequality which is there in the haves and have-nots. You work for the have-nots and they get raised up there. So that is the biggest raw power. At the same time, I must say, no, if a conscientious police officer following law and all that, he has no extra power than anybody else. It's the same power. Unless you misuse, there is no extra power for any police officer. But here is the one who is not pushing a file. Like, go to an IAS officer, he says, when the file comes to me, I will deal with it. For him, a file is a file, a piece of paper. Whereas for me, it's a person sitting and shedding tears. Husband had beaten up, or some murder has taken place, looted in a dacoity, full soaked in blood kind of people. You empathize with them and try to help them instantly. Instant help, if anybody can do, it is a cop who can do.
What is the worst part about being a police officer?
The worst part of police officer is that all pressures from all sides, the politicians, the press is the biggest pressure on the police, and then the uncontrollable situations, all factors are all not in our favor, and things can change diametrically in a different direction. And for example, a riotous situation, the Gujarat riot or the Bombay riot, 93 blast, or for example, even the recent Dasara rally between Uddhav Thackeray and Eknath Shinde, anything can go wrong. And when Indonesia football thing recently happened, 125 guys got killed in stampede. Yes. What did the police, what can they do? And allegedly we have all the brutal power, but then against the humanity and the mob and people going berserk, you have limited options. So that is the pressure, and because of which any common policeman, conscientious, hardworking policeman would have blood pressure, high blood sugar, and depression, maniacal or homicidal. And
but do you believe that as a society, we are looking after our cops?
Not at all. Zero.
No.
Expectations being so high, and the demand is being so high, you are expecting, as per the system, that a policeman should be legally very, very superior when he deals with a High Court or Supreme Court lawyer when he violates the law. And then also he has to be a doctor, because if there is an accident or anything, he has to take care of you. And he has to be a psychologist when a woman beaten up by the husband or anybody sitting and crying. You have to be a psychologist, counsel her and things like that. When small children are there, he or she has to be a mother and take the child in the lap and then take care of the children and things like that. So multiple roles are designed, expected to be inculcated in the policeman's skill set. But then, are we paying him enough? He pays less. He gets paid less than the BMC unskilled worker. And then, if the policeman's number is as per the 1960 population of this country, 1960 population matching police
the ratio of number of policemen to citizens.
Yeah, if it is a lakh, if it is 147, somewhere near 110 or so. But then, please hold your breath. 22% of the total vacancies in the country is vacancy. 22% of the sanctioned post is vacant. So the burden is, the number of policemen is as per the 1960 yardstick. Now we are in 2022.
What is the starting salary for a constable?
Starting salary, but during my time it was much low. Now it could be anything like 25 to 30,000 rupees. Now you treat customs, income tax and others as income yielding departments, and police can't be a liability to the government, because we maintain the law and order, we control the crime and detect crime, and you can't imagine that we going on a holiday for one day and the policemen have no association or trade union or collective bargaining power.
Yes.
Then, is he a slave? Is he supposed to live like this? Who is supposed to protect them? Who is supposed to help them? How do you keep the morale? See, when there is I assign somebody to somebody's protection or for my own protection. If a bullet comes, the policeman is supposed to come in between the bullet and the other person. How is he supposed to take the bullet on his body unless we motivate him? That's the problem.
Does that lead to corruption, in your opinion?
Talking about corruption, I was a joint director CBI. I hope you know that. Yes. Rajasthan, Gujarat, Goa, Maharashtra. Yes. I was in charge. So some of the corrupt people are the very richest of the people. Like the Chhattisgarh lady Pooja Singhal IAS, 38 crores cash was recovered last 2 months before. You read in the newspaper. Yes. Is she poor? Was she not well paid? So like that, if all the top recruitment people like medical education or medical people and all, the top people are all making more and more money and they all are loaded with money. So corruption and this is not relationship at all. Like if I were non-corrupt, if I am known as a non-corrupt man, it is utter poverty of my childhood which kept me like that. So everything I have today is accounted for. I've earned hard work I've done to earn that. So it does not mean that you pay them all well and they will be non-corrupt. No. But in my opinion, whatever I have done gave me a complete moral superiority, saying that, Bau, I have done everything. Bau means brother. Brother, I have done all these things for you. I have given you a free posting. I have not asked for anything. You didn't even wait for half an hour for the posting. You reported and got a posting in half an hour. If you indulge in corruption, I will get you dismissed. I'll get you suspended. That was there. For 35 years, I did that.
I remember you had once told me as advice for me as a journalist, which I'm assuming also applies to various walks of life, that you show up and do your duty and don't be attached to the outcome. Is that
easy? That is easier said than done, because what happens is
it was your advice though. It was your advice.
It's my advice, but I also followed that. But the point is, others, common people, if we say that they are attached to the family, their education, their children, their hardship, taking all these things and all that. For example, in the UP, during all these times when an officer was transferred every week or every month, they kept the family in Lucknow and then carried the suitcase to various towns and things like that. I have shifted, my wife and me have shifted 25 houses in 35 years. And whenever they are fond of me, they used to transfer me to Nagpur, that is 1,000 kilometers and more. But then, do you make a complaint out of that, or you make the best out of that and come out as more stronger? For example, I was here in Mumbai as Additional Commissioner of Police Crime, 3 years. Then I went to Nagpur and came back with a better tacticians and other things, so that they chose me. The very same people sent me to Gadchiroli for love or for hate, brought me to tackle the organized crime.
That I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you about that. And you took up that posting in 1998 when Mumbai was in the clutches of what we call the Mafia, the Dons. Over 100 murders in a year. Businessmen being shot. Back then stories were that you could not have a wedding without getting a ransom call. You could not buy a new car without getting a ransom call. And you were called back to clean it up. Is that correct?
That's the correct thing, ma'am. But the point is that shows that when they hate you, they love you also. And not that permanently you are in a fix or otherwise. So this is like that. It is your talent gets recognized, merit gets recognized. That's the time nobody was wanting to take that post. So one person has to come on his own and then do. And no mandate was given. All this happened also. Nobody ever told me.
Nobody called
Mr.
you
Manohar
and said,
Joshi was the CM and Mr. Gopinath Munde was the deputy CM and Mr. Mendonca, R.H. Mendonca, one of the finest police officers, non-corrupt, above boards, rock steady support he gave me and all that. But none of them ever told that I have brought you to eliminate this gangsterism from Mumbai and take some measures. I said, "Nahi, this is a self-given task. You have been brought here, put in when you are sitting as the joint CP crime, this kind of a crime cannot happen." So that awareness, as I told you earlier, it has come from, the spark has to come from inside. The fire in the belly has to glow.
How many gangs were in Mumbai then?
As many as you can count, this much. Because what happens in this gangsterism or organized crime or mafia, as you call, it started from 1800s, 1900s, and then began to take shape during Karim Lala, 1940. The Afghanistan guy who came, he was working in the port, he was a tall, well-built, fair fellow, so he could command. He was used for collecting the loans given to people, that Itikaran as they call that, that job, and that he excelled, and then he became gangster. And then Haji Mastan came, then Varadarajan Mudaliar came, then Dawood Ibrahim came. So much of the gangsters today would all have worked somewhere or the other with Dawood Ibrahim, and then they broke, like Chota Rajan broke, Abu Salem was part of this thing, he broke. Chota Shakil is his manager there. So many various other guys who all work there and then go and form their own gangs. So that way gangs become one and they get disintegrated, then again join, then people join hands. It's a question of convenience. See, they are chasing money. Let me put, what is the organized crime definition? Where there is money, these guys go there and occupy the place. As simple as that. So that many gangs were there. Amar Naik was one gang. His brother was another, after his demise, his brother also became a gangster. Arun Gawli is another gang.
Yes.
So like that, then where Babu Rashim, then where Rama Naik, so many such people were there. Now, if you say that from 2002 to now there is not a single shootout either by the police or by this thing and the gangs have been controlled, yes, it is true. But we have land mafia, we have forest mafia, we have sand mafia, we have water mafia, we have so many other mafias.
The money is in different places.
Money is in different places. SRA, for example, today's slum rehabilitation center, the original mafia has a footprint there. And of course the politicians and the people coming together, they make a very holy nexus. It is not an unholy nexus, a holy nexus. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that your task that you had given yourself in the late 1990s was completed through encounters?
Not at all. That is the cinema and the other guys have made a myth. The so-called encounter specialists glorified themselves so that they could also do a bit of money-making business, and they brought disrepute to themselves. Frankly speaking, it's a combination of so many factors. One is 1600 man-years of criminals was put behind the bars by using MPDA. It's a detention act where the police commissioner can detain a criminal under certain conditions for 1 year. It is subject to the government ruling and also the High Court. Within 12 days, he can appeal to the government, and after 12 days, he can go to High Court in a writ petition, and they review whether it is right or wrong. They release. They can castigate. Sometimes they can punish you also. That was there for long years, but that wasn't used well effectively. So when I came, we detained 1600 criminals and for 1 year. So that means 1600 man-years behind the bars. Crime has to come down.
Took them off the streets.
Took them off, put them behind the bars. From there, can they shoot? No. So that was one. Second is the weapons which was floating, free floating of illegal weapons. 2,600 weapons we recovered in 2 years and 9 months, 3 years, let's say approximately. We recovered. So anybody who came and met you took out a gun first and said, "Atta bol," no? So that I made a statement in the newspaper saying that anybody who takes an illegal weapon from his holster should not be alive to make use of it later. Turned out to be true. So recovery of mopping up of the weapons is another thing. And then catching up all these pending cases and trying them and then getting them convicted in the court of law. That is another one, the JJ hospital matter. We got him conviction for hanging. That was converted into lifetime thing. So that is there. That kind of cases we took it on fast trial, follow it up and get them convicted. So then the next one is whenever they shot somebody or when they shot the police, encounter was not a policy, but if encounter happened, it happened as per law section 100 of the Indian Penal Code. But the whole nadir, as you described, the 101 people were shot and things like that, it happened because of the so-called encounter petition. One encounter went wrong, Javed Fauda in 1997. Abu Azmi of the Samajwadi Party and a law person called Sebastian, they filed an encounter petition. The Bombay High Court asked the district principal judge called Justice Aguiar to inquire into that. He said not only that was a fake encounter and murder, 95 other incidents were also fake and murders. That's where the Mumbai police went into cold storage. All the so-called encounter specialists who are all heroes, they all went into hiding because they were to face the murder cases. Because
they were all guns for hire at that time, these encounter specialists.
You know, that's a historic thing. It's a long time. It's not a one-day phenomena. That is the evolution that way. But then I must say that when I say more or less it is true, what you said is true, but the same police came together as one man and responded under some leadership and finished it. Don't you think we should give credit to them that way? During the time when I was supervising this, 60% of encounters were done by the police stations, not by these encounter specialists and things like that. Yeah, how can it be that only when you go, somebody is shooting and you are shooting? It can't be. It's a funny story.
So we've seen a lot of, and unfortunately, as young people, we see from the movies.
Don't see movies, madam. Don't
watch them. Don't watch the movies.
No. I want you to finish the sentence later.
Yes.
But I want to say that a movie is made to entertain you, not to give facts. It's not a documentary. Okay. It is not telling you the truth. They have to put frills and bring heroism or anti-heroism to anybody and show a policeman. So, in many movies, the policeman is the ultimate hero. He tackles for 40-50 people in one go and things like that. There are a lot of, like for example, that Amir Khan's Sarfaraz. No?
Yes, Sarfarosh.
It is like an advertisement movie, no, for us. ऐसा नहीं होता है, but दिखाया है. Other one where Sanjay Dutt and various others, pan chewing, licking, put topi, ulta and all that, that is also there.
Yes.
So the movies are a medium of entertainment and not telling you the holy, but they don't read the Holy Bible to you.
Do you feel bad though that a lot of movies were made actually romanticizing the Dons, the Mafia?
Because they were funded by them. What are you saying? Everything in the world is cost-benefit analysis. Like Dagadi Chal 1 and 2 and all that. The handsome hero is acting as Arun Gavli. Arun Gavli is a short, dark, ugly looking guy. He is looking Arjun Rampal is acting it. So funded and financed by all these guys. Muqaddar Ka Sikandar, Diwar, Amitabh Bachchan is coming there at that time. So they were romanticizing their own image, leaving it in the cellulite for the posterity to celebrate. They were all Haji Mastan and various others were funding and financing them. Then, see, that time Bollywood had no industry status. No bank or IDBI or government would lend them money. Money came from these guys at usurious interest, 60%, 80%. They came and they told who will be the music director, who will be the director, who is my heroine. That Abu Salam's girlfriend Monica Bedi was a heroine in 2 movies, Ishq Ishq, Pyar Vyar and things like that. Didn't see the light of the day, is a different matter, but movies were made. You know, this is all true. But then funding came from them and they had their interest to make themselves larger than life so that they can attract recruiting. I hope you appreciate what I'm saying. Unless you show them as heroic positions, how will the newcomers enter? That's what it is all about. Some police officers were also shown as larger than life and things like that.
So I did want to ask you on the personal front, when you were cleaning up the city, let's say back in the 1998 onwards, you would come home every day to your family, your 2 little daughters, your wife. Does it take compartmentalization to be able to leave it?
Ma'am, it's easier said than done. You brought that gusta to the house and then you didn't do very well as a husband and a father and all that. But then it is credit to them that they suffered and they tolerated, they lived and...
Because now we know mental health, but at that time nobody was talking
No,
about
not
it.
at all, madam. Not
What
at
was
all.
that
But
like?
the point is, this becoming a sthita pragya, that you don a uniform there, come home and become a jelly belly and forget about all that, is not. Continuous phone calls will be haunting you all through the day and night. And then all problems come. See, every shootout in 93, 95, when I was here, was done only at 9:30 in the night. And then you reach home and in Kandivali, Borivali, on shootout, you wear uniform, again go all the way throughout the night, you work and come back, and next day morning again, all things start from routine. So those things, you cannot be putting a compartment saying that you are a police officer between this hour to this hour, and when you come home, you are a lovey-dovey husband and father to the children. Ye hota nahi hai. That's the unfortunate problem. That's where a lot of police people have disturbed married life and various other issues. Many children have gone astray and things like that. Many of them have done outstanding education and achievement. But then some of them can go get into wrong company and all that. So in my case, luck as that cat in that dark room, which was my selection process I mentioned. My wife stood by my side and she stayed there. We are 40 years married, happily married, and 40 years we have done. Children have done very well, and then that's it. But madam, I must say that when I came home, it is not that I could switch off and become nice and soft and take rest and go to work next day. It was not like that. No, not like that. Same gussa, same gali, and same things like that. To my utter shock, my wife one day said, "Look at this child speaking the same language which you speak on the phone." I was shocked that police language the child was parroting. So I then stopped using those kind of
those words.
But okay, I did take care of them quite a bit, and I also switched jobs from executive, non-executive, and things like that. I was in the intelligence bureau for some time. I was in the CBI. So those jobs, you don't have to plow to Saturday, Sunday and things like that. So I gave them time and I looked after them and all that. I was a loving father and my wife and things like that. So all that is fine. But then the challenge is for those people who cannot, adjust and live through that, it could be very, very difficult to handle.
So at what point did you decide, was it your choice, did you decide to take up intelligence, and what was that like?
You know that intelligence bureau is 1987. Someone, one of the boss had identified me and selected me to do that job. And that is absolutely necessary. When I go to the National Police Academy, I tell all the officers, in the initial stages of your career, you must join Intelligence Bureau or R&AW, because it gives you the strategies, the tactics, the intelligence operations, and to look at things in a different way. So my success, if any, could be attributed to my Intelligence Bureau training, because additional CP crime, joint CP crime, and 6 years of Commissioner of Police, all these strategies and other things came from there. So I would suggest through this medium that all officers must groom themselves to work in the IB, or R&AW, and get equipped to face the other issues later.
So I'm going to ask a question for our young people who are watching, who don't know the difference between Intelligence Bureau, RAW or RAW, and CBI, ED. We have all these
I
various
worked
agencies.
on all these things almost there, madam. But point is, to make it very short and sweet, Intelligence Bureau is the mother of all intelligence organizations, and R&AW is an offshoot somewhere around 1968. Indira Gandhi madam felt that the external intelligence should be given to a specialized agency. That is the time Mr. R.N. Kao, K-A-O, Kao, became the chief of it. He was in the IB and then he created separate. Bangladesh was created during that time. R&AW played a very major role. So to put it very shortly, IB looks after the internal intelligence. They are there all over the country. They will be looking at all the intelligence related to all aspects of governance and give advance information to the government to formulate policies. What is happening outside the world, like Taliban, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, various things happening about against our interests. Somebody has to keep a hawk's eye. That is R&AW.
Yes.
Then CBI is investigation and nothing to do with intelligence. CBI is a crime
I feel like you're making a joke there.
No, madam, it's 100% truth. Because I worked with
It
the
has
CBI.
nothing to do with
CBI doesn't do anything to do with intelligence. It's an investigation. Like your FBI and CIA. That's the difference.
And Enforcement Directorate?
Enforcement Directorate is the latest addition to our armor. Very powerful Brahmastra it has become now.
Did you ever meet Dawood Ibrahim? Did we ever come
No,
close
he ran
to...
away. Listen, he is
ran
son of
away
a
before.
Havaldar. He is Havaldar Ibrahim Kaskar had about 12 children. He is the 7th product of his family. But then he went away from Mumbai in 1984 when he was arrested and released on bail in a shootout case. He had gone away. Somebody would have advised him to run away to Dubai, and he went to Dubai. And then from there he did gold smuggling, narcotics smuggling, arms smuggling and things like that. And he became rich. But then when I came to Mumbai, he wasn't there. He wasn't there at all.
But did we come close to catching him at some point?
Not at all. Because we don't have a
jurisdiction.
no, I have no authority to go abroad and do all these international operations. No? Like I can't even call or talk to anybody that time because it will amount to booking an international call and talking to them and who is recording, who is there. What explanation do you give booking a call to Karachi or to Dubai and things like that? So those kind of heroics and stunts I never did. I had a Goda, that vision, saying that this is my job, this is my law, within the four corners of law don't try to do anything overbearing and get into trouble which you can't explain. So I tried to prune everything which is in my jurisdiction, and we did that. Going to Dubai and going to like that Ab Tak Chappan movie, doing all those international operations and all is not within our remit.
There's actually a new film that's come out called Vikram Veda.
Yeah, I have to see. I have to see. It is original movie is Tamil actually.
Yes.
And this is a copy. I will see there and get back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
In which Saif Ali Khan plays the cop who does encounters and then goes to the family of the deceased and makes sure that the children are looked after.
Yeah, madam, this is a movie. I told you earlier, don't take all these movies seriously because some writer in his fertile imagination can come up. I have seen a movie, Roti Bang, my organization. In a movie, which is a very famous movie, one small boy steals a loaf of bread and runs on the railway track. Shashi Kapoor as an officer chases him, asks him to stop, he doesn't stop. And there is no law to shoot any fleeing criminal at all behind the back or anything like that. Unless they shoot, you can't shoot. But this guy shoots at a small 12-year-old boy. And then when he looks at, he's got only a loaf of bread. He goes to the mother in the jeopardy and then tries to tell her that I shot your son, here is it. So emotionally, it's a fantastic movie. But truthfully, legally, it is not true. So is true of Singham, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whenever I am depressed, I see a Singham and entertain myself. But totally outside the law and constitution and the laid down procedure. Fun, maja. So this is how it is. Movies, don't go by the movies at all. Because they are trying to make money out of your entertainment. That's it. Yeah. You see Jamthara, fantastic movie. Jamthara 2 session I seen yesterday. Fantastic movie. All about cyber crime and things like that. Yeah.
Would you say, and after the stint that you had, in your stint as police commissioner was after 26/11, were there lapses on the part?
This is a very well established matter where R.D. Pradhan and Mr. V. Balachandran, an IAS IPS officer combination, have gone into the whole detail and they have given a report. Half of it is released for the people and half of it is sensitive, so they have kept it as a top confidential matter. Two American journalists have also written, I'm unable to recollect their names and mention, any Google search will say they have written a book about this 26/11 thing. All the international agencies were present here because Americans and others were involved, their deaths were involved. Top grade, all satellites, this one, that one, recording, all that had happened that time. So it's a very well recorded, very well analyzed thing. And there is a proven thing in the R.D. Pradhan committee and others that it is a lack of leadership. But so is 9/11 committee report if you read. Intelligence was there, murmuring was there, recordings were there. Lack of imagination led to a disaster of 9/11 in the USA. So this is all a fact. In Mumbai, if you are coming back again, Mr. Hemant Karkare as ATS chief had called all the hotels on the Darya Kinara and want them in writing that this shop, that should shop, this close, and all. Everything was obeyed. It's on record. He gave it in writing, they obeyed. But being hospitality industry, slowly, one by one, all those restrictions vanished. And when it actually happened, we were open like that. So, if you are asking that intelligence was there or not, intelligence was there. 6 pieces of intelligence had come. But the point is, intelligence cannot say that on this day, this time, this one, this is the guy who will come and do this act. That nobody can say. That through this sea, they will come by the boat or whatever it is and attack hotels on the seashore is given in writing. The hotels are all like Taj and Oberoi and that Intercontinental on the Marine Drive and the JW Marriott and whoever is there on the seashore. All names were there, all of them were called, it's on record. So, aisa nahi hai ki that we were not aware and all that. We were not prepared, we had no imagination. We had 200 AK-47 wielding commandos I had created in 1998 as Joint CP for against organized crime. And also later, Mr. A.N. Roy as Commissioner, just before the 2611, created a QRT of 53 people and 1 officer. And they all had the latest weapons and everything. They were all there. It is a leader who has to take action. He has to take decisions and go in the forefront and lead. That's it.
What were the steps that you put in place after you took over in order to keep the city safer?
After that again, imagination, you can imagine 360 degrees attack could come immediately from the air, water, rail, road, anywhere. So you had to cover the city from 360 degrees. So we bought bulletproof boats, about 55 of them. And did patrolling there, whatever policemen could do, coastal and all. And the government of India spent humongous amount of money on improving Navy and Coast Guard, power, purchase of boats and ships and commandos and various things like that. I brought commandos trainers from Israel after going to Israel. We brought the best of the weapons from all over the world. And I bought 7 simulators so that people can go on training, honing their skills in shooting. And they were 1.5 crores each, 7 such pieces I brought. Then I brought the bulletproof vehicles, 40 of them. That Mahindra Jeeps which you see, marksman, 40 bulletproof vehicles. And 12 men sit there, they are all trained. We created 5 control rooms in the city where 100 trained commandos sit in 5 of them. So 500 of them ready in multiple places if attacks takes place. Night also they are there. And we created a Force 1. Force 1 is a carbon copy of the NSG which came late for the Taj. NSG also is present here in Mumbai in Marol. So NSG is there, then equivalent of Force 1 is there, and then our own commandos are there, and our own QRT is there, bulletproof vehicles are there, then for shooting and training those simulators are there. I conducted a 43,000 people's medical examination outside of government to check their medical health. I created the gymnasiums for becoming better health and things like that. And then we created a training center, Prerna Hall, where we can do training psychologically and otherwise and things like that. So multiple things were done at the time. And to create awareness amongst the people who are having low morale, I created 4 conferences where Mr. Abdul Kalam and KPS Gill, MK Narayanan and Rubero and others came. NCPA we had 2 programs and we had one in Dadar, one in Chembur. So about 1200 common citizens came and attended and all, policemen also. We trained the policemen to be more, I wrote an SOP, standard operating procedure. For example, all the officers, brave officers, about 2611, I must put it on record, the bravery and the other things displayed, courage displayed by individual officers, exemplary. Like Sadanand Date went there to Kama Hospital, it's not his jurisdiction, he went there. Your Ashok Kamte went from Chembur to that place. It is outside his jurisdiction. As per SOP, they are not supposed to go, but I wrote the SOP later. But then, this shows that they were not afraid and they were not worrying about their life and protection and things like that. They went at it. One Ashok Pawar, a constable, he was going off duty from BT station in that Kasab and Iqbal were shooting 65 people. So one Havaldar RPF, Railway Protection Force, his gun got jammed. This man was in plain clothes, Ashok Pawar I am mentioning. He could have gone home and lived. He went and told him, I'll set it right, and he was doing it for him. That Kasab saw and shot him on the head and killed him on the spot. Isn't it exemplary thing? ये मुझे क्या पढ़ी है बोल के जाना चाहिए था वो नहीं किया. He was in plain clothes. He went and tried to set right things. Even that man who announced in the VT station, some Shinde I suppose, to save people and save lots of life by announcing that terrorists are doing that. These are all exemplary people. Major Unni Krishnan and Gajendra Singh coming down from where this Jewish rabbi and his wife were there. So all those things are exemplary, courageous acts. So Mumbai police is not short of courageous people and things like that. They needed guidance, training, preparation and all that, anticipation, and also drills. We do plenty of drills. You ask me what we have done in the last 11, 12 years, 13 years. Plenty of drills have been done by Force One and various other people.
Give me an example of what a drill is like.
Drill is on a fixed day, NSG or Force One going to multiple high net worth offices and then find out where is the exit entry, how do you operate, in any case of even what positions they take and all that. We take CD during my time and then we did simulations. Now they come there, enter, exit, find out and all. In Taj it's happened, They didn't know as to where to go and how the kitchens are interlinked and things like that. That all has gone now. They're practicing all the time. High net worth officers and the other things, vulnerable officers, they do. All that is happening. But after that, there is no worthwhile incident in Mumbai. We had Pathankot and Uri and things like that.
Yes.
But here and down below and all these places, nothing happened. Touch wood, let it be like that.
Yes.
I don't want them to be tested and proved otherwise. But then it did happen. That's a good thing. We are safe.
We are safe.
Yes.
I do want to ask you this though. There is an overwhelming sort of image of the police being either pawns in the hands of politicians or very corrupt. Sitting in Maharashtra, we've had these conversations.
Both are true, ma'am.
The cops being asked to collect 100 crore rupees from restaurants, things like that.
I would not comment on that 100 crore collection order. I don't know whether
the number is too small or too big.
Figment of imagination or a retaliation, revenge or whatever it is. That I wouldn't say. But it's a fact that the politicians have taken over and they demand police postings, So because police officers want to reach a particular place, they go and ask them that I need so and so, like Commissioner of Police, somebody demanded to be posted there, then he is obliged to help those people. And then earlier the posts were given on merit, today people are paying money and asking for certain posts and things like that. This culture has been like somebody is absconding. Even now, a Deputy Commissioner of Police is absconding for 9 months. And the police commissioner was not available for us some time, and one police commissioner is behind the bars. So these are things which have never been unheard of. Because even during my time, fantastic reputation, name and respect we commanded. But then as you said earlier, if you find me fit, you post me, I will work. If you don't find me fit, I will go to Gadichroli. If that is the attitude, then these things, deteriorations don't happen. You want to come here and you want to compensate, then obviously you do extortion and get a case registered and then you start absconding. That is the deterioration which has happened. So you can't blame the entirely politicians. You can blame the bureaucrats. I wouldn't even say police. What about all the IAS officers who are arrested and hundreds of crores recovered? They are not part of the system or what? They are also under the same influence as the police. Police, you are speaking all the time because you are the one who is sitting in front of you is an ex-cop. Other thing is, policemen wear uniform and they have to be showing exemplary behavior. So that is why they are being told about being corrupt and things like that.
Would you say there's more corruption now than when you were in the force?
100 times. Now, if it was 1x, this could be 100x now. Yes, ma'am. Yes. You read the newspapers every day.
Yes.
How much of currency has been recovered from various IAS officers and other officers and all that, Yeah. Medical education, various other education secretary, ministers and others. That Bengal minister and his actress friend, how much money has been recovered and all that, like that. Yeah.
Like even within the Mumbai police now, there was talk of each police officer being aligned to one party or the other party.
It is
not. Was that always the case?
No, madam, it is not. There is no fixed definition for that. All police officers, politically, whoever is in power would be aligned to them. Let me put it to you that. Yeah, last time whoever was aligned to Mr. Uddhav Thackeray would be aligned to the present regime. Obviously, for obvious reasons that they should be posted in a good place, they should not be disturbed and things like that. So that is a changing loyalty as per this thing. So that is a fact with the IAS officers and others also. So the entire bureaucracy is swinging this side or that side depending upon the who is sitting in the power. So there is a earlier question also I am trying to answer now. There is a cultural shift that various earlier there was a nexus between politicians and gangsters. Now gangsters have become politicians.
There was also this case which you and I discussed. A Mumbai police officer planting explosives in front of the house of NHNI, in front of Mr. Mukesh Ambani's house, being involved in murders, being involved in the crime himself. When cases like this come out, there is a certain doubt on the character of the police themselves. The line between police and criminal is...
Not necessarily. I wrote an article about that. Sachin Vaze is not Mumbai police. There is an article I wrote in the Indian Express, I suppose. Anybody can Google and search. These are aberrations, you know. These are aberrations that he was removed from the police for that death in custody case, and then 16 years he was outside the police force. It's the political people who forced the commissioner or requested the commissioner to bring him back and then keep him in that very powerful place, and he did all that. So this is not a routine thing that it happened and all that. He resigned and he went away. He was resurrected and brought and planted and doing all sorts of things. Whether he did for the top police officer or for the politicians or for both, is a matter of conjecture and people can always. He is behind the bars. And the one who helped in getting the gelatin sticks is Pradeep Sharma. He is also behind the bars. So for whatever excesses they have done, they are paying a price.
So the system works, you're saying?
Yes, madam, absolutely the system works, but sometimes it does take time, you know, like when the explosion takes place, then the system works and things like that. But the system did not work when he was resurrected and brought and posted. So when people ask me to, when Sachin Vaze is doing injustice against me and things like that, you talk to a senior police officer, I'm sure you know about the case. When I spoke to the joint CP, he said, no, I'm not controlling him, he reports to the commissioner of police and you talk to him. Correct? If you remember the case, then that is not the system. The system is an APA, has to work in APA's place, and there is a senior inspector, ACP, DCP, joint CP, and then CP. So the short circuit correct, that is not the system. So system works in this delivery of justice, if that is what you mean, yes, it takes time. But in between, whatever damages up, like the TRP scandal, the case against the BARC and various, that assessment agent, rating agency, case against Arnab Goswami and things like that, these are all fallout of that. Sushant Singh Rajput thing, mess up. All this is all fallout of that, no? The untold misery which people have undergone is all because of this mishap, no? Mishap that way.
There's also the questions right now about police excess, people dying in custody, people being beaten up by the police taking matters into their own hands, like we saw that one case in Hyderabad where
Sajanar, Commissioner of Police Sajanar, she was a veterinary doctor and they shot 4 of them dead. But this, as you rightly said just a short while ago, the system did work. Supreme Court appointed a committee headed by Justice Shirpurkar and Madam Rekha Baldota and Mr. Karthikeyan, ex-CBI director. They inquired and said all of them should be dealt with for murder. All 10, 12 of the officers, including Sajanar. So that is system is working.
That system is working.
Yeah, but the point is that time they were overwhelmed and they got emotionally surcharged and they did whatever they did. But now they are paying the price. How many people will go all out and support them? Tell me. In our case, earlier case, if you see that we did win that encounter petition in Justice Anjana Desai's court in Bombay, and also 14 years later in the Supreme Court we won that encounter petition which was inquired by Justice Aguiar, and we protected the police, and that is how I built up the morale.
So this is an example of what you said in the beginning, which is that there is media pressure, there is politician pressure, there is the general public putting pressure whenever a very severe crime happens.
Quick delivery, that is what they want. Like this girl died and then there is uproar and outrageous feelings, and then police was pressurized. The politicians would have said, kuch to kuch karo, jaldi karo. Whatever they did. But then the immediately public adulation was there, milk was poured on the cutout and flowers were showered and then sweets were distributed. What happened to them, all of them now? They are facing the Supreme Court inquiry and they are facing a murder charge. But then, overwhelmed by the pressure that time, jo khona hai to kar diya. That is the problem. Young man, Sajjanad is a very young IPS officer. He has got a long way to go, but he would face the pressure now from the other side. The law and the Supreme Court and the other side.
So what is your biggest learning from your 35-year career in
Honesty is the biggest protection. Moral superiority is the only superiority. Any amount of money doesn't give you any superiority. And the respect you command is only by working as a role model and your own behavior. You can't be having two timing behavior and one in darkness and one in the light. If that kind of a double timing, if you are doing, nobody will ever, you get exposed in no time, particularly in the police. You are under constant watch. All the time you are surrounded by your men and officers. You can't be doing two voices at all. So you be honest and lead the life, and you should be getting sleep, good sleep in the night, and you remain healthy. That's his thing. So that way, in my case, if you see, I have nothing to look back and regret that I have done anything wrong or illegal or immoral. And then my health is fantastic. I'm 71 plus and doing very well. Actually, yeah.
What is your advice to young people?
Young people, madam, the entire society is willing to admire and promote and celebrate people who are endowed with hard-working nature and honesty and risk-taking and decision-making capabilities. This all can be reduced to two words also. You need honest officers, and we want officers who make decisions, not procrastinators, and also not those corrupt people who are counting dollars all the time. So if that is there, the country would celebrate them. They will be playing an exemplary role. And we must all know that all people are being watched, and role models, they all become role models, either positive role model or negative role model. So we are all role models that way, that people are. Why is Mr. Ribeiro being a celebrated copper? He's 94 years old, and so many. Why am I repeatedly mentioning R.H. Mendonca or Mr. Inamdar or Mr. V.K. Saraf or Mr. Bave? His name may not be known to many people. There were S.S. Jog, D.S. Soman, so many other officers of the yesteryears. They are all men of sterling quality. Mr. S.K. Bapat, who was my joint director in the IB, who took me in the IB, who said, why did you join? He said so, and I joined because of him. So these are all people who are of sterling qualities and character. How do we remember them? How many years now they've gone, but still they are being remembered. Mr. Ribeiro commands so much respect even now.
As do you.
God's grace, God's grace, nothing else. But then they were the role model, they took you and then walked you through the path, and then one had chosen to walk their path.
So in your opinion, it doesn't matter what profession one joins, if you're hardworking and honest, there is success.
Martin Luther King said that even if you are a street sweeper, clean the streets so clean it shines like a mirror, people bring their combs to comb their hair. If that is it, in the Delhi, there is a traffic cop a few years before. He used to musically dance and stop the traffic, allow them to go. People used to go and make videographs and do that. So any job you can make it into a fine art. That's the thing. And there is people are waiting to be waiting to celebrate them. That's my point. Whichever it is. Today with this mobile and video and instant recognition or instant de-recognition, you can become the very, very top, or you can go to the bottom. I still remember a few years before one superintendent of police in Agra had put his foot on a thing, and then some constable bent to tie the shoelaces. Somebody clicked a picture, uploaded in the social media. Next day the CM suspended him. Earlier you applied and wrote to government, to everybody, nothing happened, Misdemeanor.
Yes.
I'm talking about misdemeanor in the public office. Now it's all instant like this. You do anything and it's all being recorded. So the mobile has become a killer. So I'm saying, answering your question, all the young people should know that they are being watched and they are being recorded. If that is the awareness, and then they are fine. So even if you think very strongly, that is being recorded. The mental waves can be recorded by artificial intelligence and other things. So better think positively, better behave positively.
Right. Mr. Sivanandan, thank you so much
for
speaking with me.
It's a pleasure
giving us your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.